I never thought I'd end up in court for assault with a garden hose, but there I was, staring down a judge who looked like he'd rather be fishing than listening to a bunch of HOE busybodies squawk about community standards. It all started when I caught Karen, that puffed-up, self-appointed queen of Willow Creek Estates, hijacking my private dock for the third time that week, her behemoth of an electric golf cart sucking power like a vampire at a blood bank. And yeah, I zapped her good with a blast of saltwater straight from the lake pump, watching her yelp and flail like a walrus on ice, her designer sneakers sparking against the wet wood. But damn if it wasn't the most satisfying 2 seconds of my life, right up until the lawsuit started flying. You see, in the manicured hellscape of suburban America, where every mailbox matches and Christmas lights have to be white only, Karen wasn't just any neighbor. She was the CEO of some mid-tier marketing firm downtown, the kind that peddles authentic millennial experiences to boomers with too much disposable income. At 52, she was a walking caricature, 5'4" on a good day, but pushing 250 pounds crammed in an athleisure that screamed a yoga for Instagram, not flexibility. Her face was a perpetual lemon suck, down her mouth, beady eyes behind cat-eye glasses, and hair teased into a helmet of blonde ambition. She drove that golf cart everywhere, even though her neighborhood wasn't some gated golf resort. It was just a lakeside cul-de-sac in upstate New York, where the biggest excitement was the annual base tournament. I'd moved to Willow Creek 5 years ago after my divorce, trading city chaos for what I thought was quiet reflection on the water. My dock, my slice of heaven, with its weathered cedar planks extending 20 feet into Lake Onondaga, was the one perk that made the $800 HOA fees feel worthwhile. I kept it simple: a couple of Adirondack chairs, a cooler for brews after work, and an outlet for charging my little John boat's trolling motor. Peaceful, right? Until Karen decided it was her personal EV station. It began innocently enough, or so she claimed later in her cease and desist letter. One humid July afternoon, I came home from my shift at the hardware store. Yeah, I'm a blue-collar guy in a sea of remote workers. And there it was, her golf cart, a shiny red club car with Karen's Kingdom stenciled on the side in rhinestone letters, plugged into my outlet. The cord snaked across the lawn like a guilty python. I unplugged it, figuring it was a mistake. Left a polite note. Hey neighbor, dock's private property. Let's chat if you need juice. Happy to help. No response. 2 days later, same deal. This time I waited. She rolled up at dusk, maneuvering that tank of a cart with the precision of a drunk elephant, her Bluetooth speaker blaring some podcast about disrupting the patriarchy in corporate boardrooms. She didn't even glance my way as she jammed the plug in, lit a menthol cigarette, and scrolled her phone, oblivious to the world. Karen, I called from the porch, waving like a fool. She startled, dropping her cig into the grass, and shot me a look that could curdle milk. Mark, right? The new guy. Her voice was all Jersey Shore fake sweet, laced with that CEO authority she wielded like a whip. Listen, my garage outlet's on the fritz. Some electrician screw up. This is just temporary. HOA rules say we share resources for the greater good. Greater good? I laughed, trying to keep it light. This dock's deeded to my lot, Karen. Not HOA turf. And you're pulling like 20 amps? My bill spiked last month. She puffed up, literally, her cheeks inflating like a bullfrog. Oh, please. It's a community dock. Posted signs say for resident use. And as vice chair of the board, I say it's fine. She tapped her temple, smirking. Think bigger picture, Mark. Sustainability. Electric vehicles reduce emissions. You're not one of those climate deniers, are you? I bit my tongue. Denier? Lady, I installed solar panels on my roof last spring. But arguing with Karen was like wrestling a greased pig. You end up dirtier, and she just squeals louder. Fine, I said. One night, then you get your fix. She nodded triumphantly, like she'd just closed a merger, and puttered off, leaving the cord dangling like a middle finger. That one night stretched into a week. Every evening, like clockwork, her cart would appear, humming away, draining my grid while she hosted Wine Wednesdays on her patio, cackling with her coven of Botoxed minions about those entitled millennials killing the housing market. I'd unplug it at midnight, seething, But I didn't want to be the jerk starting a war in a neighborhood where grudges fester like wet leaves. By August, it was a ritual. She'd charge, I'd unplug. She'd send passive-aggressive emails via the HOA app. Reminder, unauthorized tampering with communal property is a violation. Fine, $50. I'd reply with photos of my deed. CCNG, the board president, a retired accountant named Herb who just wanted a grill in peace. Nothing changed. Karen's ego was Teflon. Nothing stuck. Then came the backlash. One morning, I woke to my truck vandalized. Doc Hoarder keyed into the door, tires slathered in what smelled like fish guts from the lake. No proof, but her golf cart tracks led straight back to her driveway. I filed a police report. Small-town cops rolled their eyes, but took notes, and confronted her at the next HOA meeting, a stuffy affair in the clubhouse with folding chairs and bad coffee. The room went silent when I stood up, projecting my phone pics on the screen Herb had rigged for PowerPoints about mulch standards. Folks, this isn't neighborly. It's theft of services. My electric bill's up 40%, and now my property's damaged. Karen, explain. She didn't miss a beat, rising like a phoenix in her leopard print blouse, clutching her iPad like a shield. Mark's exaggerating for drama. Yes, I've used the outlet, once or twice, because, as CEO of EmpowerMar Solutions, I drive electric to model eco-leadership. The vandalism? Probably those rowdy teens from the public school district. But let's not turn this into a witch hunt. She paused, scanning the room with those laser eyes. I move we table this and discuss the real issue. Mark's unkempt lawn. Dandelions are a fire hazard. The room murmured agreement. Old folks love a good weed wine. Herb adjourned without a vote, and Karen shot me a wink as she left, whispering, "Play nice, or I'll make your life hell." Hell? Buddy, she had no idea. That night, as her cart plugged in again, defiant, with a new lock on the cord I snipped with bolt cutters, I felt the snap. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'd read about those prank videos on TikTok, folks rigging hoses to outlets for instant karma. Saltwater from the lake pump? Conductive enough for a jolt. Not lethal, just enough to make her dance. I set it up under cover of dark. Hose coiled by the outlet, valve cracked, pump primed. Waited in the boathouse with binoculars, heart pounding like a bass drum. She arrived at 8:15, same routine, speaker blasting true crime. Plugged in, leaned against the cart, texting furiously. I flipped the switch remotely from my phone, old irrigation app I'd hacked for fun. The hose erupted, arcing saltwater straight onto the plug and her feet. Zap! She screamed, a high-pitched wail that echoed across the lake, jerking back as blue sparks danced up her legs. Her phone flew, the cart's charger smoked, and she slipped, landing ass first in a puddle, flailing like she'd been tossed. I couldn't help it. I laughed, stepping out with my hands up. Whoops. Faulty wiring. You okay, neighbor? Her face twisted from shock to rage, mascara running like war paint. You attacked me. I'm calling the cops. The board. My lawyer. She scrambled up, soaked and sputtering, dialing 911 while hobbling to her cart. It wouldn't start, the battery half dead from my unplugging, and she had to call an Uber, cursing me the whole way. By morning, the neighborhood was ablaze. Karen's Facebook post, assaulted by hole-dwelling redneck on my own dock. Justice for Karen HOA Terror, racked up 200 shares. Her coven descended. Petitions circulated, my mailbox stuffed with concerned letters. The cops came, took statements, but chuckled at the saltwater shot bit. No charges, just a warning. Herb called an emergency meeting where Karen held court, sobbing about PTSD from the electrocution and how it derailed her quarterly vision quest. I defended myself calmly, self-help after warnings ignored. Deeds clear, but the tide turned when she dropped the bomb. Turns out, in her CEO's zeal, she'd updated the HOA bylaws last year, slipping in a clause about shared waterfront access without a quorum vote. Shady? Hell yes. Illegal? Gray area. The room split, half nodding at her proactive leadership, half grumbling about her overreach. That's when the real controversy hit. Local news picked it up. Suburban shocker. CEO zapped in HOA feud, framing me as the villainous everyman. her as the empowered warrior. Online, it exploded. Reddits are /amithasshole, crown me hero, NTA, zap that entitlement. But Karen's LinkedIn army doxed me, flooding my work with complaints. Unsafe neighbor endangers professionals. My boss, a softie, pulled me aside. Mark, take a week. PR nightmare. Karen, meanwhile, milked it. GoFundMe for Doc Justice. $5K in a day for legal fees and therapy. She got her car towed to a pro charger, but not before parking it sideways across my driveway, blocking me in. I towed it, $200 fee, petty but poetic, and she sued for emotional distress. Weeks blurred into a nightmare. Board hearings devolved into shouting matches. Her screeching about toxic masculinity in cul-de-sacs, me countering with emails time-stamped like evidence in a mob trial. Neighbors picked sides, the yoga moms with her, the grilled dads with me. One night, eggs splatter my windows. I retaliated with anonymous reviews on her firm's Yelp page. Empower mark? More like empower scam. CEO steals electricity like she steals bylaws. The backlash peaked at the annual picnic. Karen arrived in a golf cart convoy. Rented ones bedazzled with Karen's crew signs, blasting empowerment anthems. She cornered me by the hot dogs, flanked by her minions. Admit it, Mark. You zapped me because you can't handle a strong woman succeeding. My cart's eco, my life's purpose-driven. Yours? Hardware, sales, and bitterness. I leaned in, voice low. Your purpose is power-tripping on the little guy. That doc's mine, earned with sweat, not spreadsheets. Zap was karma. Lawsuits, just you being you. She laughed, a bark that turned heads. Karma? Honey, I am karma. Watch me win. And she did, sort of. Court date loomed, but pre-trial, her lawyer unearthed my hacked irrigation app, painting me as premeditated saboteur. Settlement offer, $10,000, plus doc community access. I took it, hating every penny. Not for the money, for the peace. Signed papers in a sterile office, her smirking across the table in a power suit 2 sizes too small. See? Dialogue over drama, she cooed. But here's the bitter twist. 3 months later, karma circled back. Not my doing, but sweet as stolen power. Her firm's Vision Quest imploded. Whistleblowers leaked emails of her bullying juniors, fudging eco-claims for clients. Stock dipped. Board ousted her as CEO. Willow Creek whispers? She was restructuring personally, code for fired. Last I saw, her golf cart sat for sale in the driveway, cord frayed. Karen's kingdom faded. She moved, rumor has it, to a condo downtown, no dock in sight. Me? I reinforced my outlet with a solar inverter, sip beers on my dock alone, watching the lake lap peaceful. No zaps needed anymore. But damn, that one spark. Worth every lawsuit. Word count for this section, approximately 1,000. This is file 1, but wait, the story needs to be 4,000 words total. The above is a condensed hook and part 1, expanding fully below for continuity. Wait, no. To meet the 4-file structure, I'll expand seamlessly. The above was the hook and setup. Now continuing into deeper build-up. As the summer heat baked Willow Creek into a pressure cooker, Karen's infractions escalated from annoying to outright sabotage. It wasn't just the charging anymore. She'd started organizing my dock space, tying her paddleboards to my cleats, leaving coffee cups with lipstick stains like territorial markers. One evening, I found her there with a measuring tape, sketching on a clipboard. Expanding the communal area, she announced when I approached, not even looking up. Per the new bylaws, your boat's taking up prime real estate. Move it to the public launch. Public launch is a mile away, Karen. And those bylaws? You snuck them in without notice. Herb said it was invalid. She straightened, tape snapping like a whip. Herb's a dinosaur. The board ratified retroactively. Progress waits for no man. Her eyes flicked to my gut. I'm no Adonis, but I lift kayaks for fun. And added, or his outdated notions of property. That stung more than the bill hikes. I'd lost weight post-divorce, hit the trails to clear my head, but to her I was just the guy who grills burgers. I snatched the clipboard, crumpling the paper. Touch my boat, and we're done playing nice. Her laugh was venom. Nice. This is America, Mark, land of the free, home of the Sioux. Try me. The next day, my boat vanished. Not stolen. Relocated by HOA maintenance to a weedy cove, hull scratch from the drag. Karen's doing, no doubt. She posted a photo on the neighborhood chat. Reclaiming shared spaces for all. Community first. Comments poured in. Thumbs up from her crew, crickets from mine. I hauled it back at dawn. Muscles screaming, rage simmering. That's when I started documenting. Time-lapse cams on the dock, meter readings, even a Ring doorbell pointed at her patio where she'd rant to friends. That man's a relic. If he weren't so basic, I'd mentor him. But no, he'd rather sabotage success. Her success was her mantra. At block parties, she'd corner folks with pitches. Empower Mark isn't just marketing, it's transformation. I turned a failing startup into a six-figure beast. What's your excuse for mediocrity? Folks nodded politely, but eyes glazed. She was the type who name-dropped TED Talks like scripture, quoting Simon Sinek while inhaling pigs in a blanket. My revenge brewed slow, like good IPA. First, petty, I accidentally mowed her prized hostess, the one she Instagrammed as my Zen garden, clipping them to nubs. She blamed deer, but the timing? Suspicious. Then, escalation. Anonymous tip to the county assessor about her unpermitted cart shelter, a lean-to garage extension that violated setbacks. Inspectors swarmed, fining her $1,200. She blamed me in a group email blast, calling it petty harassment from a scorned bachelor. Scorned? Touché. My ex had left for a tech bro in Seattle, citing my stagnant life. Willow Creek was my reset, but Karen made a rerun. Friends urged lawsuit. Small claims, easy win. But I wanted satisfaction, not paper. The Zapped plan crystallized over Labor Day weekend. Lake levels high from rains, pump primed with briny water. Perfect conductor. I tested it on a scrap plug. Fizz, spark, no fire. Safe-ish. Timed it for her routine charge. Post-yoga glow when she'd be chatty, not vigilant. But doubt crept in. Was I the monster? Nah. She was the one rewriting rules to suit her whims, turning a neighborhood into her fiefdom. As vice chair, she'd nix the kids' splash pad for aesthetic concerns, hike fees for her eco-audits, even find a vet for noisy therapy dogs. Controversy swirled. A petition to oust her gathered 20 signatures, but she quashed it with defamation threats. Monday night, storm clouds gathered, ironic with lightning in the air. She arrived early, cart groaning under new solar panels she donated to the HOA. Build back, of course. Plugged in, sipped a kale smoothie, FaceTiming her assistant. Yes, push the greenwashing angle. Clients eat that up. I watch from the shadows, thumb on the app. 3, 2, 1. Hose burst, saltwater jetting like a geyser, hitting the outlet with a crackle that lit the dusk blue. She howled, smoothie exploding, legs buckling as current tingled up her calves. Nothing hospital bad, but enough to fry her AirPods and make her bladder clench. You psycho, she shrieked, slapping at sparks, cart beeping error codes. I'm ruined. My suit's tomorrow. Sue me. I shot back, emerging calm. Or stop stealing my power. Cops arrived fast. Her 911 dramatic. Electrocution attempt. Send ambulances. Paramedics checked her, mild shock. Hydrate. No arrest, but report filed. By dawn, her post-viral video of the attack, captioned Patriarchy Strikes Back in Suburbia. Me Too HOA. The outrage? Nuclear. Her firm issued a statement. We stand with our leader against domestic terror. Local Fox affiliate interviewed her in a neck brace, theatrical, per insiders, tears flowing. I just wanted to go green. He hates women in power. Online, it split the nation. TikToks mocked her. Karen gets sparked. Poetic. But feminist blogs decried. Mansplaining via moisture. My inbox. Death threats from her fans. Job offers from bros. Hero move, dude. HOA imploded. Emergency vote. Karen suspended pending review. But she lawyered up, countersuing for $50,000. Neighbors fractured. Picnics canceled. Whispers at mailboxes. I fortified. New locks, no trespass signs, even a GoPro for evidence. As fall leaves turned, the trial loomed. Discovery phase, unearthed gold. Her emails admitting bylaw forgery. Cart charges logged at 300 kilowatt-hours stolen. Her lawyer blustered, but cracks showed. Fundraiser stalled at $8,000. Donors bailing on ethics concerns. Winter hit hard. Lake freezing my dock into a rink. Karen's cart? Winterized in her garage, but rumors swirled. Firm audit her sabbatical. I shoveled alone, reflecting on the Zapped. Cathartic, yes, but the cost? Isolation, paranoia. Then, the bitter drop. January presser. Empower Mark folds. Karen, parting ways amid lawsuits from jilted clients. Her LinkedIn? Crickets. House went up for sale. Motivated seller, quick close. Last sighting. Her loading boxes, golf cart trailered behind a U-Haul. Face gaunt. No helmet hair. She drove off without a wave. Me? Doc's mine again. Outlet humming for my use. But the scar? A reminder. In America's suburbia, revenge zaps back. Sometimes you, sometimes them. And Karen? Last I heard, she's consulting in Florida, peddling resilience workshops to other fallen execs. Better golf carts, solar now. The fallout from a zap didn't just ripple. It tsunamied through Willow Creek, turning our sleepy lakeside enclave into a petri dish for every petty grievance America loves to hate. By mid-September, the neighborhood app was a war zone. Karen's allies posting memes of me as a cartoon villain with a hose for an arm, captioned, "Doc Nazi strikes again." My supporters countered with Photoshopped Karens, electrocuting puppies. Eco-terrorist gets fried. Herb, the board prez, tried moderating, let's focus on fall foliage rules, but got ratioed into silence. Karen, ever the showwoman, leaned in. She launched a podcast, Karen's Corner, Navigating Narcissists. First episode, The Doc Debacle, When Entitlement Meets Enlightenment. Listen to it once, nursing a beer on my porch. Her voice, that nasal twang polished by Toastmasters, dripped sympathy. Listeners, imagine a woman, trailblazing CO, simply charging her EV for the planet's sake, and bam, ambushed by a man's fragile ego. It's the Glass Doc, folks. Guests? Her HR director, classic microaggression, a trauma coach, shocks trigger fight or flight. Hers was flight in wet Lululemon. Ratings? Modest, but enough for her to crow at the grocery, where she'd accidentally bump my cart with hers, hissing, "Viral yet? Your 15 minutes are my billboard." Work suffered too. At the hardware store, customers whispered, "That's the guy who hosed the lady boss." Sales dipped. Ironic, since I stocked the hoses in question. Boss pulled me into the office. "Mark, love ya, but corporate's twitchy." Karen emailed HQ, called us complicit in gender violence. Take unpaid leave till it blows over. Unpaid? With alimony nipping my heels? I nodded, biting back, blows over. She's a hurricane in heels. So I freelanced odd jobs. Dock repairs for sympathetic neighbors, kayak tours for tourists dodging the drama. One client, a burly contractor from Syracuse, clapped my back. Heard about the Zap. Legendary. She sounds like my ex, CEO of Crazy. Laughed it off, but inside, vindication mixed with bile. Karen wasn't just annoying. She was a symptom. The American dream twisted into me first, where rules bend for the bold and the rest eat exhaust. The countersuit landed like a gut punch. $75,000 now for defamation, IED, and punitive damages. Her lawyer, a slick Albany suit named Pritchard, deposed me over Zoom, his office wallpaper screaming Ivy League. "Mr. Reynolds, you admit premeditation? The app hacked the saltwater prep? Prep? It was irrigation gone wrong. She was trespassing again." Pritchard smirked. "Trespassing on communal property, per bylaws you ignored. And this karma post on Reddit, yours?" Heat rose. I'd vented anonymously, but VPN slip up. Hypothetical story, counselor. He leaned in. Hypotheticals get real in court. Ms. Hargroves suffered migraines, therapy bills. Your prank cost her a client pitch. Guilt flickered. The Zap was clean, no burns, but her pain? Real or ramped up, it landed. Still, I fired back. Ask her about my $900 power bill. Or the keyed truck. Depot ended, but sleep didn't. Dreams of sparks chaining to me, electrocuting my quiet life. Meanwhile, Karen's empire cracked. Whispers at the coffee shop. Empower Mark's green campaigns. Half-baked, with stock photos from Asia passed as local. A junior leaked to Business Insider. She'd scream, disrupt or die, then cry HR violations. Stock tanked 15%. Board meeting leaked. Her defending with visionary risks. She doubled down locally, volunteering at the food pantry, photo ops in aprons, cart park curbside. Not my doc, thank God. But volunteers rolled eyes, shows up for cameras, leaves early 4 calls. Her GoFundMe hit $12,000, but comments turned, pay your own lawyer, thief. Donors defected. One, a local eco group, pulled after discovering her cart's solar panels were coal-sourced imports. October brought the pre-trial mediation, neutral ground in a bland conference room smelling of stale donuts. Karen arrived fashionably late, in a red blazer that strained at the seams, flanked by Pritchard and a paralegal toting Folgers. Me, solo, in khakis, with a public defender who looked fresh from law school. Let's settle. Pritchard opened, sliding papers. $20,000, doc access clause, and a public apology video. I snorted. Apology? For defending my property? Pass. Karen interjected, voice honeyed venom. Mark, this feud's beneath us. I'm offering grace, CO, whatever you are. Sign, and I dropped the podcast episodes. Defender kid perked. Counter, $5,000 reimbursement, bylaws voided, mutual NDAs. Pritchard laughed. Dream on. We have your confession, worth every lawsuit. Stalemate. As we packed, Karen cornered me by the Keurig. You think you want to zap? I turn into my brand, resilient story. TEDx invite pending. What's your arc? Bitter loner. Stung, I fired. Your arc's crashing. Firms circling the drain. Neighbors see through the act. Enjoy the fall, Karen. Her eyes narrowed, lips twitching, a crack in the armor. Touché. But I bounce back. You'll always be the hose guy. Mediation failed. Trial set for December. Holidays loomed like storm clouds. Thanksgiving? Solo turkey, dockside, toasting absent friends. Black Friday? Karen's cart for sale on Craigslist. $8,000 OBO, minor electrical glitch. Schadenfreude warmed me like mulled wine. But controversy brewed hotter. A viral thread on Nextdoor. Karen's bylaw heist. Vote her out. Signatures hit 35. Herb called a special meeting. Clubhouse packed. Air thick with eggnog and enmity. Karen spoke first. Podium commandeered. This witch hunt? Sexist backlash against a female leader. I updated bylaws for sustainability. Our lake's dying from gas boats like Mark's. Booze, cheers. I stood. Show the emails, Karen. The ones where you admit creative quorum to ram it through. Gasps. She'd CC'd Herb, thinking it harmless. He fumbled projector. Slides of forged minutes, timestamps off. Room erupted fraud. Resign. She blanched, clutching pearls, real ones from her success days. Misunderstanding. For the community. Vote. 42 to 18 oust. She stormed out, cart sputtering on coal battery. Winter deepened the divide. Snow blanketed the dock. My sanctuary iced over. Karen's house dark. Renters moved in. Her U-Haul long gone. Firm obituary in the Post-Standard. Empower Mark shutters amid leadership transition. No mention of her, but LinkedIn purge. Profile on sabbatical. Connections called. Last contact. Subpoena for trial, but she settled out of court. $3 came my way. Bylaws scrapped. No apology. Her note scrawled. Truce. Florida calls. New chapters. Bitter? Yeah. She slunk off. Zapped not by salt, but scandal. Me? Doc thawed come spring, outlet buzzing free. But the shock lingers. In suburbia's smiley facade. One spark can light the whole powder keg. And sometimes the current flows both ways. With Karen's ouster, Willow Creek exhaled a collective sigh, but the embers of our feud smoldered on. waiting for the wind of trial to fan them back to inferno. December arrived crisp and unforgiving, the kind of upstate cold that seeps into bones and hardens hearts. I prepped my case like a man building a bunker. Affidavits from neighbors on her pilfering, utility logs spiking like Everest, even a forensic accountant buddy who dissected her bylaw updates as felony-level forgery. Public defender, let's call him Timmy, all of 28 and eager as a puppy, grinned during mocks. We got her, Mark. It's malice in Wonderland. But Karen? She didn't fade quietly. Post-oust, she pivoted to activism, launching a Substack, Shocked and Awakened, a CEO's fight against suburban tyranny. Installments dripped weekly. Chapter 3, the Zapped as metaphor for systemic oppression. Subscribers? A niche of disgruntled ex-scorpers and true crime Karens, ponying up $5 per month for her raw truth. She even guested on a pod about corporate cancel culture, spinning the doc drama as the spark that ignited my reinvention. Listeners lapped it, comments gushed. You're a warrior queen, saltwater survivor. Locally, she haunted like a ghost in golf cleats. Sightings at the library, researching tort reform, or the diner, corner booth, typing furiously on a new MacBook funded by GoFundMe stragglers. One afternoon, I bump her at the post office, literally, our elbows clashing over stamps. She recoiled theatrically. Mark, still stalking. Get in my mail, Karen. Like a normal person. Her smile was a scalpel. Normal? That's your problem. I thrive on chaos. You hide from it. She leaned in, breath minty with suppressed fury. Trial's my comeback stage. Pritchard's prepping fireworks. Your karma post? Character assassination gold. Chilled, I muttered, see you in court, and fled to my truck where Hose Man was now etched faintly under the primer I'd slathered. Christmas came subdued. Neighbors strung lights. White only, per rules, and I joined a pickup basketball game with the dad's crew, dodging Karen queries. Heard she's in Boca, scouting condos. One said, sinking a 3. Good riddance. Laughter, but brittle. Her shadow lingered, a reminder that one bad apple, or golf cart, poisons the barrel. New Year's. I rang in solo on the dock, now reinforced with solar lights twinkling like defiant stars, cracking a bottle of bourbon, toasting to zaps that backfire. Fireworks popped over the lake, echoing my spark, and for a moment, peace settled. But January's trial date loomed like a guillotine, slicing sleep into fitful shreds. The courthouse in Oswego was a relic. Marble halls echoing with coughs and small talk, fluorescent buzz overhead. Day 1, jury selection, 12 upstaters, mix of farmers and retirees, eyeing us like livestock. Karen entered like a runway model gone rogue. Pantsuit navy, hair fluffed to power poof, cane for shock limp, doc's note dubious. She nodded to reporters clustered by the doors. Local rag plus a true crime YouTuber she'd tipped off. Pritchard opened strong. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't about a hose. It's about a community's soul crushed by one man's rage against a woman's ascent. Slides flashed. Karen's TEDx clip, canceled but cached. Her cart, eco-hero. Then me as Doc Despot, via doctored ring footage. Hazy but damning. Timmy countered feebly. Trespass, theft, provocation. Mr. Reynolds defended his home. American as apple pie. Jury nodded, but Karen's eyes, locked on me across the aisle, gleamed predatory. Testimony dragged. Herb first, bumbling on bylaws, admitting irregularities under cross. Karen pushed hard, enthusiastically. Laughter rippled. Her glare could melt steel. Then her. The stand transformed her. Voice quavering at first. That night, the surge. I thought I'd die, alone on that plank, tears on cue. As CEO, I led with heart. He struck with hate. My career? Shattered. Firm lost 30% post-incident. Investors fled the toxicity. Cross. Timmy fumbled. Ms. Hargrove, your emails show 47 charges on plaintiff's outlet. Over 500 kilowatt hours. Value. Negligible. Shared resource. Birforge the docks. And the vandalism. Fish guts on his truck. Coincidence. Teens, perhaps. Jury shifted, doubts seated. My turn, steady, recounting the buildup. The notes ignored, bills buried, boat dragged. I warned. She weaponized the HOA, the Zap. Desperate measure, no intent to harm, just stop the theft. Pritchard shredded. Desperate? You bragged online. Worth every lawsuit. Premeditation. Objection sustained, but damage done. Karen's smurf from the gallery fueled my close. She stole more than power, peace. Suburbia's dream, poisoned by one person's greed. Recess, hallway buzz, her whispering to Pritchard, nail him. I texted Timmy. Push the leak, her firm's fraud. Day 2 bombshell. Timmy's witness, the whistleblower ex-employee, nervous kid in a tie, testified via video. Karen fudged reports, bullied us into silence. The doc? Tip of her entitlement iceberg. Post-Zap, she spun it for sympathy hires, but clients bailed on the lies. Chaos. Pritchard objected relevance. Judge overruled. Jury leaned in. Karen bolted up. Lies. Sabotage. Gavel banged. Contempt warning. Pritchard recalled her. Those fudges? Creative accounting for growth. Kid growth? Or greenwashing? EPA probe pending. Gasps. Her face crumbled. Mask slipping, revealing the fraud beneath the facade. Closing arguments. Pritchard painted pathos. A titan toppled by tyranny. Timmy. Thief thieved. Defender defended. Dismiss. Deliberation. For hours, smokes like a chimney. Verdict. No assault. Negligent trespass. Her liable for $4,200 restitution. Punitive? Zilch. But the real win. Judge voided her bylaws, ordered HOA audit. Courtroom erupted. Hugs from neighbors and back. Karen fleeing in tears, cane clattering. Reporters swarmed me. Vindication? Karma, I said, grinning. But bitter aftertaste. Her Substack finale, betrayed by the system. From CEO to survivor, monetized the loss, $20K in subs. Firm's remnants sued her personally. Boca Dream deferred to a Syracuse rental. Spring bloomed, dock alive with bass jumps. I hosted a barbecue. First in years, neighbors toasting the hose that freed us. Karen? Spotted waitressing at Applebee's, uniform straining, smile forced. Our eyes met once across the mall lot. She looked away, diminished. The Zap? Legend now, whispered at bonfires. But the outrage? It circled, shocking us all. Her fall hard, my rise hollow. In America's heartland hustle, victory's just the pause before the next charge. In the quiet aftermath of the trial, Willow Creek didn't snap back to its postcard perfection. Scars from the storm lingered like high-water marks on the lake shore, subtle but telling. The HOA audit unearthed more than Karen's bylaw bamboozle. Irregular reimbursements for community events that traced to her Amex. Wine tastings rebranded as leadership summits. Herb resigned in shame, replaced by a no-nonsense nurse named Linda who enforced rules with emails, not edicts. Fees dropped 20%. The splash pad resurrected. Neighbors healed slow. Yoga moms unfriended Karen's ghosts. Dad swapped Zap tales over brews. Me, the hose guy. Moniker stuck, affectionate now, like a badge from a bar brawl won clean. But Karen's descent was the real epilogue, a slow unraveling that unfolded in drips and drabs, the kind of schadenfreude that's equal parts triumph and tragedy. Post-verdict, her Substack sputtered. Subscribers bailed after the whistleblower's tea, calling it grift porn. The TEDx? Canceled outright. Host citing credibility issues. She tried pivots. Instagram Reels as suburban survivor coach, peddling $97 e-courses on bouncing back from betrayal. Views? Crickets. Comments? Is this the Doc Zapper? Pass. Financially, the noose tightened. Restitution check bounced. Her account temporarily frozen per bank liens from client suits. EmpowerMark's corpse? Liquidated, creditors clawing scraps. She settled a fraud claim for $50,000. Her condo deposit in Miami vaporized. Rumor mill churned. She'd pawned a golf cart, listed as vintage Ecomobile, for $2,000, rhinestone stripped. Last local gig? Temp admin at the real estate office, the one that sold her house. Irony thick as lake fog. I crossed paths with her one last time, Memorial Day weekend at the base tournament weigh-in by the public dock. Sun high, air humming with friars and classic rock. Folks in trucker hats slapping backs over lunkers. There she was, manning a booth for lakefront legal aid, flyers for HOA horror stories, her photo airbrushed to slim the jowls. No cart. She arrived in a sensible Civic, borrowed from a cousin. Our eyes locked over a cooler of perch. She froze, then approached, tentative. Cane ditched, gait wobbly from stress weight, she claimed. Mark, water under the bridge. I set down my stringer, 5-pound Smalley, my best, wiping hands on jeans. Bridge? More like a busted dam. How's Florida? Her laugh cracked, forced, deferred. Helping here first, empowering victims like. Well, us. She thrust a flyer, my photo, blurry from news, captioned alleged assailant. Victims? You mean thieves? Soft but pointed. Crowd milled nearby, oblivious. She deflated, shoulders sagging under the booth banner. Okay, fine. I pushed too hard. The charging. Habit from the city, no boundaries. But you? The zap escalated. We both lost. Lost. My life rebuilt. Back at the store, promoted to manager on local hero buzz. Dating a park ranger who kayaked my dock. Laughing about your infamous hose. Hers? A rental walk-up off Route 104. No lake view, delivering DoorDash on weekends to pad alimony. Wait, no, that was my ex Karen solo, coven scattered. Lost implies tie, I said. You forge paths, I just clear mine. Lesson learned. Eyes down, voice small. Maybe reinventing. Podcast 2.0. Grace undercurrent. Pun unintended, but she winced. Truce? Coffee sometime? Closure. Tempted. Pity's a sneaky current, but nah. Truce granted. Closure's on the water, Karen. Find your own dock. She nodded, retreating to her booth as I walked away, stringer swinging. Behind, murmurs. That's her. The CO Karen. Giggles followed. Summer rolled on. Willow Creek reborn. Picnics packed. Bylaws boring. My dock a hub. Friends fishing. Ranger girlfriend grilling brats. News faded. The YouTubers vid hit 500K views. Comments a roast fest. Karen's face when zapped priceless. 10 no re. Karen? Vanished for real by July. Job transfer to Rochester. Consulting for nonprofit on community conflict resolution. Ironic capstone. Her final Substack. Shocks shape us. Farewell to feuds. Poetic if hollow. Now fall again, leaves carpeting the planks, lake whispering secrets. I sip coffee dawn side, watching mist lift, reflecting on the saga. The zap? A foolish flash, born of bottled fury, unleashing furies bigger. Controversy cycled. Her outrage my fuel, my backlash her undoing. Bitter end? For her, yeah. Throne toppled, crown cracked. But for me, a sharper edge to gratitude. Knowing suburbia's shine hides sparks waiting to fly. In America's endless suburb sprawl, where HOAs rule like mini empires and Karens crown themselves, one truth zaps clear. Revenge conducts both ways. Tread light on others' docks, or risk the shock. And if it comes, dance, learn, move on. The lake always laps neutral.